The first thing he did after being reborn was to take his Tsinghua University admission letter and bury it in the cornfield. Then he went to town to get a fake one made, because in his past life his fiancée and the village chief's dim-witted son Doug both got into college while he failed. His fiancée even broke up with him and went off to university with Doug, leaving him stuck doing hard labor in the village. Years later, Doug returned with some classmates who called him by the name Charlie. That's when he realized Doug had stolen his identity and changed his name. He confronted Doug about the theft, but Doug and his family, with the help of his fiancée Fiona, ended up killing him. Opening his eyes again, he was back on the day the admission letters arrived. This time he quietly got a fake admission letter made in town. When the mailman wasn't looking, he swapped the letters, sealing the real one in a jar and hiding it in the cornfield. Then he headed back to the village. As he arrived, he saw Fiona and Doug waiting for him right at the village entrance. Fiona spoke up. Seeing him approach Charlie, she said, "The mailman will be here soon, you should go home. If there's an admission letter, he'll bring it to you." He smiled and nodded, then went straight home. Looking at the fake letter in his hand, he chuckled. Doug had no idea. He already had his real admission letter secured, since Doug's father was the village chief. Making an enemy of the family now would make life in the village hard, so he had to wait. He would deal with Doug and Fiona once at university. Soon Fiona and Doug showed up at his place. "Charlie, you didn't get into college." As Fiona said this, he saw the nervousness in her eyes. In his past life he refused to believe the news and missed the tension between her and Doug. Now he understood they had been plotting against him all along. "It's okay, since I didn't get in, I'll go find work in the city." Hearing this, Fiona and Doug exchanged a look. Their relief was visible. "Finding work out there is tough, Charlie. Let me find you a job here in the village. You should just stay put." He knew Doug was afraid that if he left, he'd discover his stolen identity. That's why they wanted to trap him in the village. "No thanks, he'll head out anyway." His words made Fiona and Doug tense up. Fiona quickly tried to persuade him. "Wouldn't it be better to work here, Charlie? Everyone in the village can look out for you." "No need, Fiona, I'm leaving to find work." In the end, Fiona and Doug couldn't change his mind and left frustrated. He then packed his bags, ready to go to town the next day, buy a bus ticket and leave. When the semester started, he'd go straight to the university. But that very night, Fiona and Doug came to see him again. "Charlie, I'm here to call off the engagement." Just like in his past life, she came at this exact time. Because Doug had given her $1,000, she offered $500 to him, saying it was to return the bride price. Back then his mind was in turmoil and he didn't question it. He just took the money and handed back the signed marriage contract. But this time he wouldn't make that mistake. "Calling it off is fine, Fiona, but the contract you signed states, if you break it you owe my family an extra $500. Fiona was stunned by his words. She knew years ago to win his family's trust, she didn't hesitate and signed that agreement. She thought he loved her so much that if she asked to end things, he would just agree and not demand more money. She just got $1,000 from Doug, and giving it all away pained her. She needed money for school too, but without paying she couldn't get the contract back. "Charlie, how can you do this? Do you really think you're good enough for Fiona?" "Whether I'm good enough or not, if she breaks it off now she has to pay. Of course you can choose not to. He'll take this contract and sue her. Then she can forget about going to college." As soon as he finished speaking, Fiona's face changed completely. She had to go to college, so she quickly handed over the $1,000 from Doug to him. "Here, Fiona, our marriage contract, take good care of it." He handed the contract to Fiona and watched them leave. Then he grabbed his bag and went to the cornfield, retrieving his real admission letter from the jar. He slipped away quietly under cover of night. Once out of the village, he went straight to town and checked into a motel. Only then did he finally feel safe. Arriving in the city, he found a job near the campus to wait for the semester. Soon the first day of school arrived. He went to the university with his admission letter, and right at the gate saw Doug and Fiona, along with Doug's mother. All three were shocked to see him. He could see the panic in Doug's eyes. "Charlie, what are you doing here?" "I'm here to study." "Charlie, what are you talking about? You didn't get into college. Why would you come here?" Watching Fiona's terrible acting, he just smiled. Doug's mother chimed in quickly. "Now look, Charlie, you failed the exams. Go back home, you've been working odd jobs for months. If you're broke it's fine, I'll give you $100. Just leave." He smiled at the family. "I was just looking." After saying this he walked toward the school. Seeing him head for the entrance, Fiona's face paled. She tried to grab his arm, but he shook her off. Right outside the school gates, he wasn't afraid of them anymore. "Fiona, I'm going to school, why are you stopping me?" "Charlie, stop messing around. You didn't get in. What are you doing here? You need to go back right now." "Fiona, who are you to tell me what to do? Where I go is none of your business." Fiona was taken aback. "I'm your fiancé, shouldn't I care?" "Fiona, you seem to forget you took the contract. You and I are done." His words made Fiona's face turn ashen. He knew she took $1,000 from Doug's family. That's why she was desperate to stop him. And if people found out she helped Doug steal his identity, she'd face serious consequences. So now Fiona was even more nervous than Doug. Looking at her he smiled, then pushed past her. "This has nothing to do with you, I'm going in." As he said this, He turned toward the school, seeing him still trying to enter. Doug glared coldly from behind. "Charlie, even if you get in, it's useless. You have no admission letter. You can't enroll." He glanced back at Doug. Doug had no idea what kind of trouble he was in. Seeing him head for the entrance again, Fiona grabbed him. "Charlie, you can't go in. Fiona, if you keep holding me back, I'll call the police." His threat made Fiona's face go even paler, especially with the scene they were causing at the gate. Several students and teachers had noticed. A security guard was walking over. "What's going on here?" "I'm here to study and they won't let me in." The moment he spoke, the guards turned to look at Fiona and Doug. The whole family looked panicked. Doug's mother spoke up quickly. "He's lying, he failed. He never got into college. That's why we're stopping him." "Yeah, he can't even show an admission letter. My letter is in Doug's hands." That's why Doug was so confident. But Doug had no clue, had already taken his real letter back and made a fake one. What Doug was holding was the counterfeit. The guards looked at him. He quickly produced his admission letter. "This is my admission letter." As he said this, Doug and Fiona's faces changed completely. Doug blurted out in shock, "That's impossible." He stared at the letter in his hand. Doug shot a furious look at Fiona. Even Fiona was staring at him, stunned. "That letter is fake." She lunged at him, trying to snatch the letter from his hand. He ducked behind a guard and shouted, "Help! They're trying to steal my admission letter."